My name is Kevin Kimwele. Originally being a commercial architect, mainstream architect helped me understand the challenges and the red tape in conventional building. And then now being a community and social architect, I'm able to push those boundaries further. The main aim has to be to motivate the use of alternative materials in marginalized communities or poorer communities. It's been an interesting journey. Our projects have varied. In the beginning, I started with hybrid structures, which were almost mainstream, So, for example, the Massifune Education Center, we could only do pallet walls. And a lot of the ideas that were on recycled materials fell away, but we could do a lot of passive design, which is, the building, natural lighting, natural ventilation and cooling. But when it came to Just Global Community Project, by kind of negotiating a space that could function and be used for different uses, we ended up with an alternative building that used pallets and wine bottle walls to actually improve structures that are already in the township. And then we've worked with waste pickers, right from creating waste bags and waste cuts. Then we've also done a house. There we pushed the whole idea of going green even further. The entire design is passive design and recycled, so that's why it hits about 90% recycled. And I think after a couple of years, I think about 6-7 years, we got there, and we thought we could now pull out something much more sophisticated. But right now we are in Cape Town, and we have a very exciting project right here within the V&A waterfront. We've pushed the boundaries to about 98% recycled. And why is it important? It's important because by putting a project like this in a space like the waterfront, it challenges the status quo. It shows and proves that a green approach is worth it. So it is a very exciting time for us to be in Cape Town, for us to roll out a project like this.
I'm an architecture student from Nelson Mandela University. I'm working with Kevin. So my topic is around recycled architecture. So Kevin has worked in that field for about 10 years now, I think. And it's all about learning from Kevin and joining the team, the broader team of trying to save the planet, right? Because it's our generation's World War II, or like our generation's most pressing issue, right? So I think everyone in whatever field they work in should be doing whatever they can to like save the future generations.
The construction industry is actually one of the great pollutants environmentally. If you look at the amount of waste going into landfill, a big portion of it, I think about 40%, is actually coming from the mainstream construction industry. Also, if you look at mainstream construction methods, where we're using so much cement and steel and aluminum, these are materials that have a very high carbon and energy footprint, in fact, and water footprint. So if you go to mainstream construction, they'll tell you they're recycling steel. But think about it. For you to recycle steel or recycle glass, you have to reheat or re-energize, use more water and such. What if there's another method which is using the material as is, or with inputting as little energy as possible and making it doable? This is where labor comes in place, which means your social impact is wider. But all of it is being guided back to the source, or one of the root issues, which is human dignity. And why is it that we have so many people living under, the poverty line? And it attaches itself by saying, well, we can still impact the poor communities by providing technology, by them participating in this process and then benefiting and being able to take this technology home. Because when you think about the mainstream green agenda, we're talking about solar panels, we're talking about wind turbines, etc. It doesn't really directly impact them because they cannot access it. I think we are creating a precedent on showing how we can use, normal materials, pallets, wine bottles, coffee cups, plastic bottles, in alternative design, which can then go into designs, mainstream design. And what that does is it unlocks the potential of these designs or technology all the way to poor and impoverished communities. It's a topic that has gained more and more traction in the more recent years. So as you've seen, our journey really began in poor and impoverished communities, and now we're producing something for mainstream architecture design. And what we're doing is basically making it acceptable so that the masses also can accept the design and technology, because it's challenged the status quo, but it also makes it the norm in practice, in architecture, which then means it's actually more accessible to poor communities, because when they see it, they can accept it and they can practice it. And our hope is that then at that point it can catch fire. I would like to invite everybody to participate and partake of this. Central to this is poverty, and with such options, we're able to even raise the poverty line further by being considerate and thinking of options that not only impact the environment but also impact people, giving people more dignity. It's in very small actions, Maybe you're not involved in the building industry, you're not an architect, but by you providing your recycled material to a waste picker who is able to collect it with much more dignity, then he is able to make a living. By you separating your waste, by you rethinking about your old clothes and giving it to someone else instead of dumping it in the bin where it's taken to landfill, we all have a role to play, and you will be surprised by how much we can impact the world individually.